for the STR8Facts podcast. And I'm here with a special guest, man, Coach Paul Holmes, from the Star Show, the great show that I love watching. I watch every season of Last Chance U. You were on both seasons in Indy, right? Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah, sure was.
So the first show, the first season you was the quality control coach, right?
Well, no, in the first season I was working with DBs. I was the secondary coach under Coach Jason Martin.
Okay, but most of the time you was in the press box when the games, right?
Yeah, the first year I was, and then the second year I transitioned to the wide receiver coach. And then I was more so on the field, make sure my guys needed to do, get in and out, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it definitely, even y'all were entertaining to me in the press box, cutting over each other, acting a fool. Like, I forgot what episode that was. I think somebody had to go to the bathroom or something. They was like, man, we just peed the court.
Oh yeah, hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Some situations, it's tough. You kind of gotta make ends meet when you find a way to make it meet. So.
Yeah, so I know they did a whole bunch of showing of Coach Diaz, but were all y'all living in the dorm room?
Yep, every coach on the staff, except the head coach and the offensive coordinator, everybody, the whole staff lived in the dorm.
Okay, yeah, because they were living at, I guess, at JB's house, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know they choose what they want to put on the show, and I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Coach Diaz, but I didn't really dislike him. I just feel like he kind of did a little bit of playing both sides when it came to Malik and JB. Sometimes he would act like he's hard on Malik, but he really wasn't. And I mean, I know you might not want to comment on that. It's just my opinion from watching the show.
No, I can say something about it. I mean, in that situation, man, you kind of gotta do what you gotta do. At the same time, you gotta kind of figure it out and get the kids to the yard, as we would say. And then also you gotta do what the head coach tells you to do, because obviously that's your job and that's what you're here to do. So you kind of gotta find your mixture of what works for you and what works for the kid. And if it works to get them to the field and make them play ball and graduate them with a scholarship, then we did our job. So.
Yeah, and I mean, Malik's fighting for the quarterback job at Nevada now, and Coach Diaz is at, isn't he at FAU with Coach Kiffin?
Sure is,
Yeah, okay. Which a lot of the coaches from Last Chance U, that's what I do respect about it, even though it's a documentary, it's a little bit more realistic. It's not on no love and hip hop stuff. Y'all do be getting different coaching jobs. Y'all do be moving up the ranks, whether it was some of the guys at EMC moved up the ranks, like the D-line coach, I can't think of his name. He went to Troy, so you here. So, like I said, y'all do. That's what I did like about the show, is really showing y'all want to get the kids graduated in scholarships too, but y'all want to go different places too.
And also, that was my biggest thing when I first took that job. So I've always told people, I'm the same way just as the kids. I came to do this job to help me get another job. So it all kind of balances itself out. And one thing that I learned working in independence is, as long as you never quit, watching from kids to coaches, that somehow, some way, it always works out. So that was the biggest thing, and that's one thing I'm just like you said, I'm proud of that. The fact that everybody I work with on that staff somehow, some way, has a better job. I mean, even kids, like we had kids that don't play and they still get FBS, FCS scholarships. So as long as you do your process and trust the process, it always works out for you.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sadly a lot of that too. A lot of the ones they don't put on the show be the ones getting scholarships, and it'd be a lot of those other guys, the main guys on the show, that are the ones struggling a little bit to figure out where to play next, or whether they getting scholarships or don't get scholarships or losing scholarships. And when you look at the list of the guys who actually play D1 now, it'd be a lot of the guys that I'm like, you didn't talk about him on the show at all.
Yeah, and then the one thing about the show, man, is it's gonna find the attention guys. It's gonna find guys that have a tough background story, or guys that constantly have to figure it out, in the school and on the field, and how to get it to work for them. Most guys, when they buy in and do what they want to do, I mean, their story is just like any other kid. There'll be a kid that, everybody has a different background, a different story, but if you come do what you're supposed to do, it work out. And you always have a few kids that just struggle. Maybe it's going to class, or maybe it's, with character issues. So those are the guys that sometimes they kind of highlight, and they look at it. And like you say, the cameras pick and choose which parts of the show they want to show. So
yeah, and even different parts of those, even those individuals, because to me, watching the show, Malik in season 2, even though he ended up, you know, getting dismissed from the team or cut, Malik from part 2 looked way different from Malik in part 1, where you almost is like, is that the same guy?
It absolutely is the same guy, and that's what I'll tell anybody to this day. I love Malik Henry with everything I have, because that kid is probably one of the most talented kids that I've ever been around, from the mental aspect of the game to true talent. And the thing about Malik is he's a competitor. I mean, you gotta understand the kid went to Florida State, played under Jimbo Fisher, and you know, to come to live in Independence where you basically have nothing and you're trying to figure out how to survive. You know, it's not easy, and then also at the same time you have pressure to get a Power 5 scholarship, or pressure to try to win every game. You know, so they deal with normal pressure too. It's just they're not. It's really tough on them, because outside of the staff and the community and the school, the support they have is only around them that they can see. So I mean, you know, like if something happens at home, you gotta deal with it. The only people that's there for you are the guys that are there with you. You know, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, Malik looked like, you know, kind of, his dad tends to be a lot looking like he's involved, but you can still see, I guess he still has a little bit to me of that distrust from him. I guess as they said on the show, his dad wasn't around for so many years, so I can kind of see where he, even though you do have that home structure, you still kind of question it yourself.
Yeah, and then if you know his true background story, Malik has been to, I mean, ever since, if I'm mistaken, I think like when he started high school, he's played at least 3 or 4 different high schools. So I mean, you know, and for him to still come out and be one of the top 30 quarterbacks in the nation, you kind of have a, you know, you look over your shoulder with everything you kind of do. So that's how he is, which is, I mean, it's not a bad thing, as long as you know how to translate it to having fight and drive. It always works out. So,
and I mean, as much as they wanted to make a big deal, I did feel like Coach JB would have them looking a little unorganized on offense, or not really sure of the play call. And then sometimes, to me, you can't call somebody a savant and say he understands the game as well as any coach, and then not want him to use it. So then you get mad when Malik checking plays, or he has an idea about where he wants this route to go. And even I was mad for him as somebody, I mean, I played in high school. I was mad for him when he was, I can't remember that episode. He was trying to, I guess, tell the receiver,
stop, give me $1,000 right now. I want 1,000 right now.
Now that I got your attention, I don't want $1,000, because if I asked for that, you'd probably be like,
this fool is tripping.
I'm out of here.
but for
$5.
What? This could be your infomercial being promoted, advertised, and marketed to thousands of listeners and viewers every day for a week on all UAP radio shows, platforms, and affiliated pages. This includes promoting your websites, businesses, bios, ebooks, crowdfundings, apps, studios, songs, music projects, events, and all things new regarding the Black community news. This gets you 1 minute of airtime on UAP radio shows and custom voiceover creations tailored to fit your infomercial. So call UAP Radio today at 704-418-1876, and you too can help strengthen the unity in the community.
UAP Radio, and for the voice of the Black community.